Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for the week of August 18th. This week, we're going to jump right in here. You have this loyalty and determination card. You also have this playfulness and cooperation card. Yeah, I think it's a great time for Scorpio to latch on to something, like a new idea. Or it doesn't even have to be a new idea, honestly. You always get the tower. I wouldn't even worry about the tower if I was a Scorpio because the tower is you. But sometimes I think with a tower and something like that loyalty and determination card is that we could be revisiting something that we've been working on for a while. And now I definitely wouldn't worry about the tower because you have the star right here. And the star comes up after the tower and it literally represents healing from a tower moment. But I'm wondering if you are kind of going back to the drawing board on something, or if you're giving something a second chance, like a project that you're working on, or something that you have worked on before, and it's like you're working on it again here, Scorpio. So that wouldn't surprise me at all if you're kind of redoing something or whatever, right? Or if you're reworking something. You start here in your current general energies with the Queen of Swords, the Tower, and the Page of Cups. I feel very good about this Queen of Swords in a weird way. I feel like normally I wouldn't say this. She is focused in the future, but I don't necessarily consider her to always be future focused. She could be, but it's kind of like clarity. She does represent clarity. She only has clouds halfway up her body here. And it represents the fact that she's seeing something clear for the first time. But, again, I read intuitively, and I feel that a lot of you are seeing something clearly. It's like you're seeing your future more clearly. And definitely something I would pay attention to here. You have the Nine of Swords in the good stuff, which is good. To me, that kind of would represent avoiding a disaster, or being finally changing a cycle, which is kind of what I feel for you here. We'll talk more about this as we get closer to that card, but I almost feel that you are finally ending a negative cycle, or finally getting over something. It's like you're finally clearing something out that's been a repeat cycle in your life, and again, I feel like you see this coming, which is good. You have the Tower. Again, you have the Death card right next to it. Both cards can represent Scorpio, the Death card and the Tower. And so, really in a lot of ways, this could just say that you're showing up in a powerful position in the reading. You're getting ready for a change. Like I said, having the star here as well, wouldn't even worry about the Tower. The star comes up after the Tower in the Major Arcana, and it just represents healing from a Tower moment. So a lot of you could be healing from a Tower moment. The thing about the Tower is it's about accepting reality, and maybe that's why you have the Nine of Swords at the end, is because, it's like sometimes when we accept things for how they are, then things can change for the better. And, really, again, that's coming up in the good stuff, which is good. I think that you could be experiencing a change for the better. I also get moving here, Scorpio, by the way. So if you're thinking, and you have the Death card right next to it, so, if you're thinking about moving or planning a move, it's like for some of you, I feel like you're saving for a move. Maybe you have the Queen of Pentacles here. One thing I will tell you is that it's like I wouldn't be rushing to buy a home right now. I think that there will be some good deals coming up, right, in the future. And so definitely something I would pay attention to. I definitely think the housing market, the car market, if you're thinking about buying a car, I would wait until maybe the end of the year, beginning of next year or something like that, if you can. Obviously, again, I always tell people this is loose guidance at best. Sometimes we just need to do something and we don't have a choice. So you know what I mean? It's you have to live your life. But if you can, I would wait. It's definitely something I would think about. It's I have no intent. I had no intentions of moving actually this year, but it's already there are some good deals popping up around me, and I'm kind of I don't know. It's tempting, right? So definitely something to think about. You have the Page of Cups. Page of Cups could be a new lover. I wouldn't really call this a love reading, but I do think that it is a good time for water signs for love. So if you want it, it exists with this Page of Cups, and I would just make it happen. I just think that water signs have to put themselves out there. Again, water signs are definitely not gonna find someone at home on their couch, right? And if you do find someone in your home on your couch, you should probably call the cops, because how did they get there in the first place, right? But what I would say here is that again, you have to get out in public, right? With the Queen of Swords, there you go. You have the King of Cups. Definitely could be attracting a water sign. There's something about you and a water sign. This has been coming up for you for weeks. So, you definitely could be attracting a water sign. You have this playfulness and cooperation card, loyalty, determination. Those are all 4 good things in relationships, right? Loyalty, determination, playfulness, cooperation. This person could have those energies. They could be very playful and loyal, which is good. Funny enough, by the way, the King of Cups to me is a clue card. I have a couple of cards in the tarot I call clue cards, and the King of Cups to me can be a clue for moving. So, again, definitely something you could be thinking about. With the Tower, you have the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands is feeling like you're not ready to make a change. I think that is the most Tower part of the Tower. Is that, the Tower sometimes comes up when the universe has been asking us to make a change, and we don't make the change. And so the Tower can be the universe saying, like, okay, then I'm going to make this change happen for you, right? And so, if you're being asked or if you feel like you're being guided to make a change, I feel like this is saying, like, don't wait. Don't let the universe create a Tower moment for you. So I don't really feel bad about it. I do, and it does look good because you have that Nine of Swords at the end, which basically says you're making the change, but don't let the universe do it for you. With the Page of Cups, you have the Temperance card. Yeah, I feel like you've been patiently waiting. If you want love, I think you've been patiently, maybe trying to form a connection or get a connection here. And like I said, I do feel that there could be a very solid connection coming in with that Page of Cups if you want love. The Temperance card is about patience, about mixing 2 things together. So, I kind of feel that where if you are getting into a connection, I would say for the next couple of months here, you know what I mean? Even past the September, even past the eclipses, maybe into October, like your birth time, October, November. If you're meeting a person, this might be one of those things where it's like you mix together. I don't know why that's popping into my head as important. It's almost like, it's not oil and water. That's not what I'm getting. But it's like there might be a slow mix. It's like sometimes you can pour 2 things together and they kind of like slowly come together. I don't know. I feel like that's what's happening here with like 2 people. If you're meeting a person, is it might be like a little bit of a slower mix. But I also feel like this could be very good, not a bad thing. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Inner Work card. It says, don't be afraid to prioritize your spiritual growth or personal growth and spiritual development. Health and wellness are necessary to enjoy an abundant life. Yes. You have this Diplomat card. It says, with your uncanny ability to form connections in human relationships, you serve as a bridge between worlds. Yes, it might be a good time to form connections, not even just love, right? I think it is a good time to form connections and to like meet people who support you. Like, it's a great time to find your tribe, to find those people who really lift you up and, who really want the best for you, all that. People who really come from love, right? And we're not just talking about romantic love. We're talking about, all of it. And I would definitely work towards that. You have the Five of Pentacles, the Death card, and the Star. Five of Pentacles can represent feeling left out in the cold. This is a fear because of the moon. We have the moon right next to it here, showing up right next to the Five of Pentacles. So if you want love, you could be fearing that you are going to be left out in the cold by a person. But, I would let that fear go because it doesn't really look like that to me. You have the Death card, you, showing up here. So, whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. It's like I feel like there's something that you are working on or changing emotionally. We have the Moon card. The Moon card can represent needing to be vulnerable. We have to be vulnerable with the Moon. I'll talk about this more in a minute. But basically, the whole point of the Moon is that the lobster on the card has to let go of its emotional armor so that it can move forward. And so it's like sometimes we have to approach something and we have to be willing to be vulnerable. We have to be willing to get hurt. To be successful in the first place, especially in love. I think people are way too dramatic in modern day relationships, for sure, right? Posting videos, crying in their car on TikTok. I think we need to start saying that's cringy. It's cringe, right? To do that. And so we need to stop doing that, right? And we need to stop telling that story as well, of course. And we need to start telling a more positive story of what we actually want to see. But, it's like I'm not picking on anyone here, Scorpio, but I get a lot of comments from people that are like, yeah, but if I don't do this, I will get hurt and it will hurt. I'm like, yeah, that's part of love. Sorry, I hate to tell you. It's like if you're saying you can't handle getting hurt like that, then you're saying that you don't want love, right? So that might come off as me being a hard ass, but I kind of am, number one. Like I think people don't realize that I'm a dick, right? I'm a lot of Capricorn in my chart, a lot of Aries in my chart, believe it or not, and Aquarius rising, like douche, right? So a-hole should be my middle name, Chris A-hole Wreck. It's like maybe I come off as nice and sweet, but that's like just the Pisces exterior, right? So what I would say here is like, yeah, sure, get over it, but and get over the whole hurt thing. It's like you're not dead, right? So I think that's what we have to start doing. And again, like I said, I'm not criticizing anyone here. I think we just have to start being braver in relationships, and to find that true good relationship, we have to be willing to be vulnerable. We also have to, and also part of like the hurt thing is like, again, people that hurt you, it's like they tell you they are going to hurt you right away. We just don't listen. And again, I'm guilty of this as well, for sure. So I'm far from perfect, and again, we just have to be better listeners up front, and that's what I would do here with that card. You have the Star. Yeah, I think based off this reading, it would be a good time for healing as well. Like, even if you do meet a person this week or something, it's like it might be a good week to just take it slow in the first place and focus on yourself more. You know what I mean? It's like when we take care of ourselves, and like Empress energy, right? Even though this isn't the Empress, kind of they're kind of similar. They can both represent self-care and things like that. It's like I think when we heal ourselves, when we love ourselves enough and take care of ourselves, then good things do come into our lives. So it's almost like the Star is saying, you just focus on yourself, focus on healing, focus on loving yourself more, focus on doing things that prove to yourself that you love yourself, like taking care of yourself, doing nice things for yourself, talking to yourself nicely, right? All that would probably be good. Sure. With the Five of Pentacles, you have two cards. You have the Nine of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. So definitely could be a knight in shining armor. Someone could be taking you off the market. Nine of Pentacles being single. Or you could be taking someone off the market here, Scorpio, if you're looking for love. But definitely could be a knight in shining armor. The other thing about these two cards is that the Knight of Cups is very dreamy, and the Nine of Pentacles is about creating your own like slice of heaven on earth. It is a card of heaven on earth. It doesn't mean that you're going to have heaven on earth today, but it's about like what can you do to create more heaven on earth energy around you, right? Or what can you do to make your life a little bit more in that direction? Things will never be perfect, but how can you get closer? And I don't know. you have to answer that question. Like I said, heaven on earth could be anything. It could be loving yourself more. It could be taking care of your health. It could be having more time to do your hobbies and things like that. And sometimes we have to start small. Can't make this shit up here. With the Death card, you have the Page of Cups. The love showing up here, right? So, it's funny that I started talking about love on that Death card. So definitely could be a very strong, strong love connection if you're looking for it. And yeah, I don't know, looks good. And like I said, for those of you that don't want love, I would be taking this as something that you do love or will, and probably connected to like a dream, because you have a lot of dreamy energy here. Moon, King of Cups, Knight of Cups, Page of Cups, Star. And even if you do want love, again, a lot of you could be working towards like a dream. With a Star, you have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, you just have to take the first few steps here, is what I would say, Scorpio. Six of Pentacles is about planting that first seed. It's about planting a seed, watching what grows, watching what doesn't grow, and then moving forward from there. So if we pay attention to what's growing, then things will go well with that card. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Crow Spirit. It says, you'll soon receive news that will bring some blessed experiences into your life. Love it. Very good. You have this Koi Fish Spirit. Says you're manifesting more love, prosperity, and wealth into your life. Yes, things are getting better, but I think you need to believe it. With that Tower, there's like a little bit of stinking thinking here in the reading, right? Nine of Swords, Seven of Swords. Even though those cards are showing up in the good stuff, again, I still think that, is this like a perfect reading? Hell no, right? No reading is perfect, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like an amazing, although I don't know. It is kind of an amazing reading when you think about it, but it's not like, is it like going to be like a week where you're jumping for joy? Maybe not. Although what I would say, Scorpio, is I think it would be a good week to brainwash yourself into that. Like, I think it would be a good week to find things to jump for joy for, right? Because if you do that, you'll attract more of it into your life. But, again, it's like a pretty straightforward good week. But, again, I think you're being led to this stuff, like bigger and better things, bigger and better opportunities in your life, more love. What does that say? More love, prosperity, wealth, and wealth into your life. There you go. You have the moon. Yeah, like being willing to be hurt is what I feel like this card is saying. Again, it's not saying. Again, I want to stress. It's not like you're hurting yourself. It's not like you're doing this on purpose. But again, this card is sometimes I feel a card being willing to be vulnerable. It's like we have to be willing to put ourselves in that situation. It's kind of like, it's like I don't really have any good examples, but I tell people when they enter into relationships, it's like we have to enter in as who we are. It's like I think people do things to try to protect themselves, but it's like those things we do to try to get a relationship to not end is exactly why it does end, right? It's like people always tell me, oh, in my next relationship, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'm like, great, this relationship is over before it's even started because you're entering into it as a person that you are not. You are entering into it trying to make it something that has to work, and that is exactly why it won't, right? And so I'm not saying you have to be like totally open and vulnerable to a crazy extent, but you have to be vulnerable enough to be willing to get hurt, right? And again, I think the trick here is Six of Pentacles, right? If you're afraid of getting hurt, really what you have to say, you have to tell yourself, I've learned enough and I can invest a little bit of time into this connection, and then but I can also pay attention. Six of Pentacles, he pays attention to results. If there is growth, if he puts energy in, the other person returns the favor, great, he will keep going. If it stops, does he leave? Not necessarily, because you never know. It's like people aren't perfect. Things are never 50-50. I think the whole 50-50, 100-100, whatever stupid stuff people say about relationships that, again, ruins them in the first place. No one can give 100% because we have other stuff going on. Also, it's kind of creepy to think that you want a person to give you 100%. Like I hear people, again, say this on TikTok where they're like, a relationship should be 100 and 100. It's like, are you both attached to each other 24/7? Like, how does that even work? Right? It's like literally impossible. So is 50-50. But for the most part, is it 50-50? Paying attention is what you should be doing. You have the Four of Pentacles. Sometimes I think Tower says we have to let go of our old story as well. We have to let go of an old reality, and definitely with the Death card. But I kind of feel like you are, because you have that Nine of Swords in the good stuff. But, Four of Pentacles says, what are you holding on to? And what do you need to release to, experience something new? It could be needing to let go of that old story, and that's what I would do. You have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles, card of resourcefulness. I think it's an amazing time for everyone to tap into the resources and to use their resources wisely. I think it's an amazing time to not just money, but like energy, effort, attention. It's like, can you be more resourceful with those things? With the moon, you have the Hierophant. The Hierophant can be kind of like blessings. And you have this card. Didn't it say blessings? Oh, it says you'll soon receive news that will bring some blessed experiences into your life. So definitely could be some blessings or something is blessed for you here with the Hierophant. With the Four of Pentacles here, you have the Four of Cups. You have like fear of being disappointed. Again, it was very obvious to me earlier in the reading that moon was talking about some sort of fear, and again, fear of being disappointed or fear of something not working out. But it's kind of like you have to get over that fear to allow something to work, right? With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Three of Swords. Yes, and maybe you need to heal as well. There's no reason to rush into anything right now. So it's like if you're not ready, you're not ready, right? Like if you're feeling like you can't be vulnerable, that's perfectly fine, right? Maybe you now admitting that to yourself is a good thing, and then you can go heal your heart so that you can be willing to be vulnerable, right? So there's no rush, and you're all different. Some of you are healed, some of you maybe aren't, and don't beat yourself up. The whole point of this reading is to take care of yourself first, right? I said that on the star card. So it's like, I think like I would be putting myself first if I were you, Scorpio, and just healing and taking time. Next, in the area of the good stuff, here you go. You have this card that says, what do you need to release? The old story, for sure. You also have this card that says, take time to breathe out, right? So it's like maybe really that's what you should be doing. It's just taking time for yourself, breathing, listening to your inner voice, all that other good stuff, for sure. You have the Nine of Swords, Seven of Swords, and the Nine of Wands. Nine of Swords is a never-ending nightmare. Nine of Swords can be like having a nightmare, waking up, being stuck in a nightmare. But it's showing up in the good stuff, which is good, which could say that you are removing yourself from a round-around situation, which, again, it would be a good thing to remove yourself from something that is just going round-around. And I think that you are releasing something and getting out of this bed. So I like to see that. I feel like you're finally, closing something out. It's like you're finally closing a negative cycle out in your life this week, which is great. You have the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords in the good stuff I personally think it is a good card in the first place because it is a golden card, and golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what. But he's stealing these swords from this army in the background here, so he's sneaking away, and it basically is a card of tactics, doing something in a different way. Number 2, he has these polka dots on his cloak. Polka dots in the tarot can represent taking something too seriously. They show up on this card and the Three of Pentacles, right? And so, those two cards both can sometimes represent needing to be more playful with something, needing to just allow something to work, right? Like if you're getting into a relationship, don't enter into it with a bunch of rules. And again, people say to me, I need these rules. I need to do these things so I don't get hurt. It's like, no, you don't. It's like, you have a lot of experience. Don't discount what you know. It's like, if you're really being honest with yourself, again, people show us who they are right away. So pay attention, right? And then you won't even have to worry about getting hurt, right? And so that's what I would say here with the Seven of Swords. But, I think you need to allow something to work. You have the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is my card of experimentation. I do think it's an amazing time for fixed signs, you, Scorpio, to kind of experiment. This is my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Experiment any area of your life. Doesn't even matter that you want to improve. I would just be trying new things, moving in new directions, having new experiences, meeting new people, all that stuff. Anything new we can do, the better, for sure. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Sun. Amazing. I love readings that go from the moon to the sun. I do not like the other direction, sun to the moon. So the moon to the sun can say you're attracting more joy, peace, happiness, love, light into your life, more good stuff. So I feel very good. And it would also represent entering into a time of clarity. The sun, it can bring in a lot of clarity into our lives. With the Seven of Swords, you have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is about walking away from things that no longer serve you. So I do feel a lot of you could be walking away from things that no longer serve you, obviously, and things that are getting in your way. And so I think you could be doing that. Just walking away from things that get in your way and cleaning that up. Again, really the gist of the reading is that you're ending a negative cycle. It's like you're getting out of something that has been a negative cycle for you for a long time, which is good. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Queen of Pentacles. Again, yes, all about resourcefulness. I think it would be a great week for you to, tap into your resources, to use your resources for the better. Queen of Pentacles, she doesn't necessarily use money to do something either. It's like she might not have the money to do something, but she will find the resource, or she will find a way to do what she needs to do. Next, you have this Inkpot card that says problems to be resolved. I think you are resolving problems, really, with that Nine of Swords at the end. It's like, this week is maybe not too complicated, Scorpio, or maybe it's not as complicated as I've made it. It could be much more simple. I think that maybe this week you're just focused on overcoming some challenges that you've been experiencing or closing out those negative cycles. And, obviously that would be a good thing. You have this Ring card that says a marriage will take place in either a romance or business. There you go. Yeah, if you're interested in a person, there you go. I mean, definitely could be a very solid love connection coming in for you. Earth and water stand out to me here in this reading. I'm pretty sure you always get earth and water in your reading, Scorpio, so, whatever. But could be a very strong connection. I also feel like something is coming full circle here, which, again, there's a lot the whole reading basically says that. Like, you're closing something out. Something is, it's like a circle is closing. You're ending a cycle, a negative cycle. And I feel this is leading to a more positive cycle, obviously, which is a good thing. You have this Fair Woman card. It says, dealings or relationships with a woman with blonde, gray, or white hair. You have this Owl Spirit card. It says, good advice from a wise person. Yes, this could be a person in your life that is like a guide or could help guide you. We kind of are in a time of guides, or we kind of are in a time where you could be experiencing guidance or receiving guidance from a person. It is a good time is what I'm trying to say, to look for a guide. You even have the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a teacher, right? So, we should be learning from other people. Now, I believe this is very important, that we are in a time of trust but verify. It's like we are kind of in the time of the, know-it-all guru, right? So it's like you shouldn't be listening to anyone, including me. You should be trusting but verifying. So we should be learning from other people. But we should also be trying what they say, experimenting with it, whatever their advice is, right? The problem with Neptune and Aries is looking for a savior. So Neptune, is retrograding back into Pisces right now. It's not in Pisces yet, but it will be soon enough. and it's going to be moving forward into Aries next year in January, towards the end of January. And Neptune and Aries is like looking for a savior, but the whole point of Neptune and Aries is to save yourself, right? So it's like the universe doesn't want us necessarily like looking up to a person and putting them on a pedestal. The universe wants us to say like, okay, that was an interesting idea that person had. I'm going to try it for myself and see if it works. And if it does, great, I'll keep doing it. If it doesn't, I'm going to try something else, right? And I think people who have that attitude will do very well. You have this announcement card. Yeah, it could be some sort of good news coming in for you, so I like that. You have this happiness card. Yes, I think that is the answer. We kind of said this earlier, like doing more things that bring more. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something about it's like you should be doing things that make you jump for joy this week. You know what I mean? That does not mean you will be jumping for joy. I think you need to create that energy first. Do you get what I'm saying? And if you do that, then good things will happen. So there you go. But pretty interesting reading here, Scorpio. I like it. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.